This is as groovy as it gets.
Oprah, Can You Hear Me? Oprah vs. Donald 2020 is a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro and a production of EI Alliance, copyright 2019. America is courtesy of New Threads off their new album, Felonious Wilma. Hi, this is Julie, and I am here with Susan, and this is our So What episode.
This episode is actually interesting because we've really not been meaning to, but I guess indirectly we've been kind of beaten up on Oprah. And it's not because we want to beat up on Oprah. That's really never our intention. It's more of, looking at her as an icon. And then, you go so far with self-help and we assume that you reach a point where now you're empowered. And so we've asked ourselves the same thing. We've done a lot of our own investigation into energy and beliefs and stories and perspectives. And we are always pushing ourselves to be more empowered. And that's what we really hope to achieve, even through not just these podcasts, but all the podcasts and the books that we've written.
Right.
It's what we don't talk about us, but we talk about going there. So, of course, we started, that's why we wrote the book on Trump, because he seems empowered. And whether or not he is or not is actually irrelevant. Mm. It's what we've learned from looking at him. And so we did the same with Oprah. And the further that we went, and then, of course, you look and see what she's doing now.
Right.
We started saying, wait a second, what's going on? Something doesn't seem to fit.
Right. And when, it's funny, when you say beating up on her, I look at it more as, we all beat up on ourselves, and that's because we're trying to figure something out, and we try to move ahead. And I don't really look at it as beating up on her. We've been very comedic in certain circumstances.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we've also highlighted aspects of her that, who knows, maybe she never even thought of.
Right.
And I think part of what we're doing, and a huge part, is just seeing her differently. And sometimes when someone else sees you differently, that hugely propels you into seeing yourself differently.
Oh, yeah.
And in that sense, in seeing her differently, sometimes we see things, and because we work with energy and we're always in the energy, we sense things and we can get things, and there are sensations we see. And I was telling you a little bit earlier how I saw something on one of those entertainment shows, and it was just in the background that Oprah was at somebody's event, and I could just sense this overwhelming sensation of they were trying to zoom in, but they said, and Oprah's there, and there she is in the background, and it's some celebrity's daughter's something or other. And the interesting part about it only was that, we've all felt sometimes what are we doing at this event? Why are we here?
Well, she's almost like the popular celebrity.
Right.
And I think, that's, when we went and we talked about, I'm an Apple girl now. And it's okay, I'm not criticizing, but after a while you're that's it? That's what my life has become. I'm the popular celebrity.
Right.
And so we're taking this, and because of course you and I talked before, I'm this is actually really, I think, an empowering point for Oprah to hear that, we started saying if she were to run, she would have such an immense group of people following her and supporting her.
The question I said is, who could not support Oprah? Who's going to really come out and say, I'm not going to support Oprah? It's what? And that's just a funny sensation, because even my reaction of that is, it's almost like the Ronald Reagan, which is odd because, Trump kind of tried to go in those footsteps. Yet, all the news has been saying, and of course I'm kind of taking an angle of it, but all the news has been saying is, even President Obama isn't supporting Joe Biden to run, or said to him, hey, don't run.
Yeah, Joe Biden there's no way at all he cannot beat Trump. And the fact that he's the best one running of the Democrats is, I don't even know the word for it. And I got to believe Trump's just kind of sitting there oh God, this is he's got to be bored. We said this before.
Right.
But I have to think that So why wouldn't Oprah do it? Because it's almost like a natural. Either she's going to stay the popular girl with the celebrities, which, oh God, that's the empty feeling that people talk about.
Right. And you know what? It's interesting too, because now as you said that, and I think because there's an interesting, and I'll put it this way, there's an interesting mystique about Oprah. Because there really is, and it's along the same lines of there being an interesting mystique about Trump, which is an odd thing to say. Yet we don't know what he's thinking. We don't know what anyone's thinking. Mm-hmm. But career politicians, there's no mystique.
Well, the mystique is there's something more than there's something more. There's like a hidden gem that's trying to come out. Mm. The career politicians are just, I hate to use the word, like yes men. Yep, okay, yep. And again, we talk about Elizabeth Warren going to the Woman of Color event. Mm. And she goes there, and we let you mamas and your babies. It's like, oh, shut up. Mm. Come on. It's actually, I would think, I'm a woman, but no, I'm not a woman of color, but I would be insulted. Like, get the hell out of here. And then she's going to come to us. We're white, but then she's going to say, well, white women have been hurt too. It's like, shut up. Don't put me in that category. And now try to, what is she going to do when the white man comes? Now there's a lot of good men. It's like, oh, there's nothing to it. So your mystique that you're calling, I think it's like a gem. Mm-hmm. And you know what? But when you open yourself up, and you allow that gem to come forward, you're very vulnerable. Mm. It really is, because you're really putting yourself on a, like, oh gosh, am I really going to say this? We do it all the time. We do these podcasts. You always look at me and I'm like, I'm saying what I'm going to say. I know my intent. My intent is always to push people forward, to help. It is not to bring anyone down. Mm. We always joke, like, we want to go further, and I want people to come with us. I want to have fun with it. I'm not looking to be, the number one. Mm. So I know my intent, and sometimes I say things that people could say, did she just say that? Mm. So for Oprah to come forward, and again, you go against someone like Trump who is going to look to poke you and really slice you in half. She may have that feeling of like, wow, if I'm going to step up and be me, I have to be all of me. And then here he is. It's like slaying the dragon, not to use, but it's like, wow, am I going to open myself up? And then he's going to say something to me, and the facade or this belief that I'm all powerful is now debunked. And she may think like, well, my gosh, what if that happens? And therefore, this is where you say, and this is where the title comes,
so what?
What?
And because to be specific, the funny thing in the midst of this, and it's not funny at all, is that I think even President Trump has alluded to, she has too much insecurity. He's kind of alluded to that.
Right.
And, that's kind of funny for someone to point out and say, hey, you're insecure.
It's
granted,
also a little
hypnotic and manipulative. Right. And of course, because when you tell someone, then they start to think, am I really insecure? Yet, to have the answer, so what?
Right.
I mean, everybody is insecure
that would
about
be
something.
You said it before, I'm Oprah. That's number one. And the second one is, so what?
Yeah. So what?
So what? No. And then what do you say to someone who says, so what? I'm being me.
Exactly.
And she would have the opportunity. It's almost like when you're, I always say this if you listen to the podcast, pardon me, but playing tennis, do you really want to play against someone like me who you can constantly beat? No. Mm. You want to play against someone that's going to make you better. And who better than, why wouldn't she use him? Mm. She's trying, I would believe that this whole facade of being the popular celebrity's got to be killing her. And you want to step in, and why not go? I'm going to use a Trumpism. Go big.
Mm. And, sometimes when you're caught waiting, you just kind of accept what comes to you. Mm. But when you decide to do something while you're under the illusion that you might be waiting, you tend to move forward with stuff. And so in that instance where, she's possibly taking all these invitations and going to all these places and doing all these things, and of course, sure, she's Oprah. She can entertain invitations. She can do what she wants.
Who wouldn't invite her?
Exactly. Yet, is that really all of what you want to do? Because sometimes when you go out and you're, think you're enjoying stuff, and you're with a whole group of people and they all look like they're having fun, you get overwhelmed in the multitude of insecurities that everybody has that are there going on.
Called it feeling empty. I mean, you listen to all these stars that, you can go anywhere. Who would invite you?
Right.
And they have that feeling. There's something about that's more than just being popular, or more than just being the icon. There comes a point, I have to believe, because we've experienced it. I'm not Oprah, and I'm not not everybody knows who I am, but that doesn't change the fact that we're all people, and we really have a deep, innate need to really find out who we are to our core. And I would think that for Oprah, she's done, everybody has their things that push them, and she's done well, but there's a part of her that's still, I don't want to say hiding, but it's coming forward, and this would be an amazing opportunity. And again, it was beautiful. We were talking about it, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, what if someone comes and shines the light on you and says, look, you're vulnerable. So what? We all are, but that's where growth occurs. Right. We're not vulnerable because we're losers or because there's a fault in us. We're vulnerable because there's a part of us that needs to grow, and it's like, oh, I got to open this part. And it's a little bit of that pain of opening it, but once it comes out, and you can move with it.
And when you decide to find yourself from the inside out rather than from the outside in, you start to really realize how strong you are, and how powerful you are, and almost kind of sort of even how funny you are, because you can say so what and really believe so what. It turns into, and I say this a lot, probably off rather to you probably than in all the podcasts, but everything is kind of like high school. And you're faced again with that, oh my God, I have to walk into the cafeteria, and who am I going to sit with? And really, at this point, at many stages in your life, you can turn around and go, God, I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self, so what?
Well, do you know what? I think the other thing is the career politicians, as we talked about, always have a facade. Always, if you talk about facades, I guess that's the word I'm going to use in this podcast. But they have this persona of, look at me, I'm popular, everyone loves me, because that's what they do. And yet you have someone who comes in and says, hey, this is who I am. And someone says, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're ugly. Like, so what? That's what you think. I hear it. I'm vulnerable, but I'm powerful. Everybody loves that. People, there's movies. The story's constantly about people with doubt and with, obstacles to overcome. But they don't give in, and they just say, well, I'm going to work with what I've got, and I'm going to move forward. And she has an amazing opportunity to do that. And she gonna?
And she does, and we all do. So, every day when we're doing something, whether at your work and you have to give a presentation or a demonstration, or you have to do something, or you're going to start a new job, or you're doing something you're unfamiliar with and you're feeling vulnerable and insecure, we've all been there. And when you realize, oh my gosh, we've all been there. And if you've ever not been given a talk, but been given a presentation or something, and something occurs, and you just say to people, what?
Exactly.
So what?
Yeah, that's
what am I going to
exactly,
do? Everybody laughs, and everybody goes,
exact
whoa.
thing happened to me. I was doing a presentation. I had my cards. I had a PowerPoint. Had everything ready. And I turned, and all the cards, they didn't just fall. They fell, and I swear a wind came, and everyone looked at me, and I looked at them, and I laughed, and I said, and to myself, I said, I know this. And I did the PowerPoint. And did I miss something? I'm sure at some point I had everything. I went through the PowerPoint, and it was great. It worked out fine. But it was that initial,
right.
like, okay.
And the really great part about that is you stopped to say, I'm just like all you. And
Yeah.
everybody's had that occur
Yeah.
to them.
Right.
Whether it be a different vibration or a different situation. Yet, in the midst of it, if you say, so what? It gives you this, nice feeling of,
Yes.
we've all been there.
Right.
We've all been there. And so, just kind of sharing that in this podcast and sending that
Yeah.
energy to Oprah. I mean, the career politicians, blah.
Oh.
It's, they have their set, this is what I say, this is what I repeat, this is what, but to find a person who's going to come out right there, against Trump and go for that, competition to be president of the United States and do it in a different way, just like he's done
Yes.
it in a different
Right.
way.
Yep.
Yet their own different way. I mean,
Right.
he's given so many clues, and it's
Yes.
like playing a video game.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get to this level, to this level, to this level. And then you got to kind of be your own avatar,
Yeah.
and you got to empower yourself and go for that. And so to come out and do that with the vibration of, so what, is hugely powerful.
You know why? Because it's human.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to this production from EI Alliance. Check out our Amazon authors pages for books and podcasts, along with our Donald Trump and Oprah books for this series. Find great music by New Threads on iTunes, Spotify, and on newthreads.us.